Okay, we are actually live finally. I apologize to everybody. I don't know. I was trying to do this custom streaming thing where I had a previous URL connected, but that didn't work so good.
Okay.
I am thrilled to be here with the Pretty Pink Posh family, and we have some special visitors here with us this morning. Paulina, I'm going to let you introduce them.
Okay, so first of all, I'm Paulina. I'm the owner of Pretty Pink Posh. And then this is my husband, Paul, and our son, Zion, who's almost 17 months. He is a big part of the business. And recently, a lot of inspiration for stamp sets and products have come from him. And he has a major part in the business. As you can see, he's now trying to pick some orders. He helps with shipping, quality control, managing the office. He has a lot of hats that he wears.
And what is your role, Paul? What is it that you do for the company?
I primarily work with our wholesale customers, and then I also pick a lot of the orders and I get them ready for shipping and then pass them over to Zion to quality control before they get packed up and shipped out.
I love it. So your orders come with a little special surprise anytime?
It's always with love.
Yes, absolutely. It's so much fun to be able to meet your family, Paulina, and to be able to spend this time together with you. And so,
I'm so
thank
glad.
you so much for joining us, Paul
and
Zion.
Zion, can you wave?
You, Zion. Can you wave, honey?
We were playing peekaboo earlier, but
yeah, peekaboo. Well, thank you again so much, and again, it's always such a delight to work with you and your team, Paulina. I appreciate it so much.
Likewise.
Now, one of the things that I've always been interested with people is learning their background and sharing that with others, because I know you and I are not two people who like sharing our faces in public very often. So I really appreciate this. And so I was just curious, when did you start stamping and what drew you to it?
Okay, so I've been stamping since I was a young girl. I grew up, actually, my parents own a stamp company. And so crafting is in my blood. Before it was kind of like, as a kid, I enjoyed it. Then it became a job and I didn't enjoy it as much. And then it was kind of became a source of therapy after I had a car accident, and it was my outlet. And so that's really when I developed a love and a passion for it. And then shortly after that, that's when I kind of started Pretty Pink Posh. I needed an outlet. I started developing a following on my blog, and it kind of just went from there.
Right.
Yeah.
It is so amazing to hear people's stories, because it's what I'm hearing you say is exactly something very similar to what happened with me. You have something that happens in your life that changes everything, and then you have to have an outlet for your creativity and a way to de-stress and to reduce anxiety, and you're not able to move around like you were able to. And so that is a huge motivation for me as well. And I personally believe that creativity saves lives.
Yes.
It absolutely saves lives.
I would totally agree. It was really the only way I could interact with the outside world for a little bit, because I wasn't able to drive and walk around and everything like that. So just being able to pour, what little, like, I don't know, it was just, I was really struggling. So just pouring out my love and my, everything I had into cards and then blogging and kind of connecting with people on social media. That really just, I really feel like it kind of saved my life. It was just, it made me feel like I had a purpose.
Right. Yes, exactly.
We're not supposed to cry this early on.
Oh, no. And you know what? Being an emotional person is a good thing. And so, and it's not tears of sadness, it's actually tears of joy, and knowing that it does make a huge difference in people's lives. And so that totally drives me too. And I was so very lucky to meet you early on and have you come into the office and have a chance to get to know you. And so I would love for you to share what products you started with and how your product line developed so that people can hear your story. Because I don't know how many of people who are joining us actually know who you are. So it's like it's fun
Yeah.
to be able to share that for people to know
Sure.
you better.
Yeah, I don't do these kinds of interviews often. So yeah, I feel very blessed because you took a chance on me before anybody else even knew who I was. You were like, I want to carry your stuff. And I'm like, I'm a nobody, but it made me feel so special. So you will always have a special place in my heart.
Thank
I
you.
started out with sequins, and it was just being able to create these different mixes. I've always loved colors and color combining. So that was one of my first things, was mixes of sequins and all kinds of sequins. And that was another source of therapy of just packaging all those sequin bags,
Right.
thousands and thousands.
Right.
And then from there, it was kind of like, okay, I started to have a little bit of like a budget to kind of expand. So I started with some die cuts. I was still using other brands of stamps. I wasn't sure if I wanted to dive into that. But eventually I did. And so by then we had 3 products, and recently we started doing stencils. So it's just slowly over the years, just expanding a little bit more. And it's just been so much fun, there's so many different avenues you can go. And so, but as my first love has been sequins. It still has a special place in my heart. I still package them all by hand.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
Yes.
People don't realize, I think, how small our businesses are.
Oh yeah.
And so to be able to introduce your business, your husband, Zion, and yourself is just such a dream. And it's like for us, we actually only have 8 on our team. And so people don't know that a lot of these things, like we wear so many different hats. So, again, it's one of those things that it's an honor to do these things. And your color collections, and then all the little sparklies, like those little jewels and the things that you've been able to find, it's like, it just makes me happy to carry your product line. So thank you for that.
Oh yeah, sparkles and anything that shimmers, that's totally up my alley. I just feel like no card is complete without it. Except I don't know. And my husband's like, oh, it takes so much time. And I'm like, it has a piece of my heart. It's like, I can't give those things up.
That's right. Because it's like, there's always a spot for like a sparkle. 3 little spots for a sparkle on a card.
Yes.
Yeah. I need to mention that if people are on with us, they should be leaving comments for us, because we're going to be doing a drawing for somebody.
Ooh.
So we want them in here leaving us comments and questions. If you have a question for Paulina, let us know, because we want to share ourselves with you today. So maybe we can't answer the question, but we can always try. Now, again, with all the products that you're designing, the set that we have today that you created for us is so adorable. Like, I just love it. And when you receive this from us, we are actually using our packaging, and that's kind of what our collaboration is, where Paulina's team designed it, and then we have used our packaging to put it together. So we have it all ready in our beautiful little envelopes. And so make sure when you buy the combo that you pull it out, because the dies are right in there with it, so that it's kind of tucked in behind because of the rules for packaging. So don't think that they aren't there. They're there. They're in the same package, ready for you to go. And so what I always like to recommend to people is to go ahead and put it back to back in the envelope, so then you get to see exactly what it is. Everything's labeled and ready to go. And this is part of your circle series.
Yes.
And one of the things that is so great is I love how you're expanding on a concept, which allows us to use previous products together with current products. And so can you share a little bit more about the other products that you've designed that go with this the summer circle combo?
Yes. So for me as a stamper, I always love making sure things are cohesive, and if I love like a certain theme, then I'm going to kind of run with it. So the circles, I have several different circle sets, and then I have the summer one. So it's kind of like a mixture. I'm going to show you a couple of our previously released circle sets, and they're all the same size as the circles that or the summer circles.
Right.
So you can use the same dies. They all have individual dies too. So these are all interchangeable. That's what I'm big about. And then we also have released our summer release. And these,
love those.
yes, these all were designed at the same time. So they coordinate beautifully together. You can use this border one is so great.
Yes.
You can just stamp it and then, you know, add that little panel there. Of course, you can create some fun scenes. I have a few cards from my team, actually. I'm going to show a few of them. This one here, very, very cute. It's a simple design.
Right. And that summer is part of one of the sets that it was just released.
Yes.
And so if you go to our website, it's actually right there with the Pretty Pink Posh brand, and you can go ahead and sort by new. And also that border die that was used in so many applications so effectively by your team, like your team that knocked it out of the park. And to be able to bring your team and my team together for that Instagram blog hop, that was just like, it was so, but they did such an amazing job. So huge thanks to all of those on your design team, as well as our design team who participated. And again, for those of you who are watching, head over to Instagram and find those projects, because we are going to be giving away a gift certificate to somebody as well. So you never know, you could get some of these products that Paulina is sharing with us today.
Yes.
So.
Yes, the team that, I mean, there may only be 6 images in this set, but they're so versatile. I mean,
yes.
You can see, like right here, she used it with a wreath.
So
this
cute.
One, like, they're just, it's just so fun.
And the little critters are just adorable. That was another one from the summer release. And that word summer, that is so well done. That font.
I know.
Somebody's cursive, like, that's so good. I love that word. It's so good.
This one is does not have to be summer. You know, you can use this for so many different occasions.
Right.
Change out the sentiment, even like maybe a baby card.
Yes.
Too.
Yes. Yeah. So. I know Carly had just created something for our blog. I don't know if you saw it, where she used it and then she popped it out. She made a shaker.
I did see that video and I commented. I was like,
I love that. Yay, Carly. Yeah, she did such a good job with it. It was so fun.
Yes.
So,
yeah, when I do create, I love making sure things, you know, are cohesive. I don't want you to just have one stamp set and be like, what do I do with this? You know, I want you to be able to pull from your other Pretty Pink Posh stamps and be like, oh, I can easily mix and match. So that's something I really try to strive for.
Now, I know this is something that you and I have talked about as business owners. Our time for creativity has gone south.
Yes.
Way south. And so, you know, what are you doing in your life as a sanity saver now? Because it's like, I know for me, it's challenging some days because I miss it. And so I try to figure out ways to, you know, do something. So.
For me, getting to, you know, kind of create new collections is really another form of, you know, being creative and like, okay, well, I have this theme I want to do. Where can I go with that? And, you know, so that's really where I've kind of focused in on my energies now, because I don't get to stamp as often as when I do these releases. But it's, and also just kind of seeing what my designers use. And that really is just like, oh, I never even would have thought of that, even though like I designed that product, you know. So it's those kinds of things, seeing people's projects really kind of just motivates me to, you know, keep creating new products.
Right. And you know, again, it's also seeing how other people use it just makes you happy. It's so fun because it's like sometimes it's such a huge surprise and it's just it's fun to be able to see that. And so
you design things so far in advance, and so you kind of already have it pushed to the side, and you're working on other releases, and so when it comes to fruition and you're seeing the things being made, it's just like, oh, okay, you know, like that was totally worth all that hard work, and you know, seeing people comment on how much they enjoy it, and you know, how a card blessed somebody, like those kinds of things. It's just, that makes what we do so worthwhile, I think.
Absolutely. Yes. yes. Yes, I noticed a comment come through that says, Paulina, can you design some coffee mugs?
That,
No.
yes, that has been talked about. I actually did design something, but I'm not completely thrilled with it. So I'm going to rework on something, but I do have plans to hopefully do something like that in the future.
Oh, very, very fun. I love hearing that.
Yeah, no, when people do, leave comments on suggestions, I do read them. And a lot of sets are based on suggestions, or little bits of, inspiration from what they left a comment about. So feel free to always send those suggestions in.
Yes, especially if it's stylistically something that, it's one of those things that I think a lot of us as business owners, there's a chance for everybody to create something, because they're all going to look a little bit different, because we all have different inspiration, we all have different illustration styles. Yes. And so it's fun to be able to have choices and things, that will allow us to follow the themes that we're passionate about.
I totally agree.
So do you have a favorite part of card making then? Like when you do get to do it, like is it card making? Is it tags? Like I would love to hear from all the people in the comments too. Like tell us, leave us a comment. Tell us what your favorite part of card making is, or if it's not card making, what you most like to create. So it would be awesome for you to share that, because I think people would love to know that.
Yeah, for me, I've always been into cards. I like that I can most of the time start and finish in one setting, whereas others with scrapbooking or whatever takes several sessions. A card usually I can do it in one setting, and I just love being able to do that, and then send the card off and just hearing the people's responses. I usually am very selective on who I send cards to and make it usually with a certain purpose. But yeah, card making has always been my number one. And then I also like doing gift tags, because those are super easy too. Yes. And you can make it custom to whatever gift wrapping or person's personal favorite colors, things like that. But I like the kind of quick and finish in one setting and then move on.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what people say in the responses, and I'll be sure to share all of this with you as well, because it's like, some people really love to stamp. Some people really like to die cut. Some people really like to do the whole process. Do you have a favorite amongst those three? Or is it just the whole culmination of everything together?
I think that's what it is. Yeah, there's certain times when I love using individual die sets, but I think the stamp die combos are probably my favorite.
Right.
And then, of course, coloring has always been therapeutic. So just getting to color and stamp. Yeah, I just love all of it, really.
Well, I have to, I'm trying not to giggle too much, because one of the things that is being put, I think I saw something in the comments that saying, well, shopping is part of my favorite part of card making. Yes. I kind of can, relate to that, because I'll bring things home thinking I'm going to do this, and then I don't get to it, but I'm like, just getting the stuff was just so much fun.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Fun to collect, and then kind of once you unwrap and it's like, oh, I forgot I got that. Okay, how was I supposed to use that? And kind of just being creative that way. But the shopping part is always a fun thing.
And having a company with all sorts of products, I can tell you that it's just one of those things that you want one of those, you want one of those, you want one of those. And seeing them and touching them, and it was like, yes, it's so true. When you're creating your cards and you're adding color to them, what's your favorite way to add your color?
I always seem to go to Copics, but I'm not an expert at all. I just love that there's so many different colors that I can kind of use. Yeah, that's ever since I was able to afford them. I don't have the whole collection. I still have, lots of gaps, but just knowing that I can choose different color combos, and they have so many things around it. Copics are my go-to. I tried, what are they called? Color pencils.
Yes.
And I feel like that one takes a lot of skill, and I have not perfected that one. So Copics are my go-to just because of how easy they are to use, even if I'm not a great blender.
Well, it's just one of those things too, that the simplicity that you can have with, like, you can go from like super simple to elevating it to all these layers and blending and all this kind of stuff. And so that it is definitely one of my favorites as well. I think, for myself, I really love using the Copics and then coming back with a little bit of pencil on top of it to get that texture to come out that's in the paper.
Uh-huh.
I think maybe that's my favorite way to color.
Yeah.
And so it's like the Copics are always involved, though. I fell in love with them, and the ability that that you said, the color range is just incredible. So,
Yeah.
and if you layer two colors, you get a whole new color.
Exactly. So, I know they're pricey, but I feel like if you select, ones that you're going to use, you can really kind of use them in so many different ways.
So, do you prefer coloring then over solid stamps, or do you like using solid stamps too? Like, what is your preference? Because I noticed that most of your stamps are line drawings. So
Yes.
I'm thinking maybe I know the answer, but I want to hear it.
Yeah, no, I do prefer like the open line coloring. I think it's also maybe because I just haven't mastered, the solid stamps. You have to, well, now that there's a Misty, I think it's a lot easier. Before there wasn't a Misty, and so I think that's why maybe I gravitated to the open line.
Right.
And then now with stencils, I feel like it's easier to ink distress that, and you can use the open line, and that kind of makes everything, I don't know, so much more versatile. So I would say open line, and then maybe with some stencils, color in if you want to make it quick and easy.
Yeah, I was noticing on some of those cards that the designers had created that you were sharing, they'd used your stencils, I think, to create the backgrounds with the ink blending. And so it's that combination of making your own pattern paper even now that stencils offer you, that there's just layers and layers and layers of techniques.
Yes.
That you can put together. So do you have a favorite technique?
I don't know if I do. I've always been really about like layering. My cards always were like this thing.
Okay.
I love just adding different colors. So I don't know if I have a favorite technique per se. I don't know. My cards tend to be always very colorful.
Right.
So, because of ink distressing and everything, you can add so many more colors now easily. But yeah, I don't think I have a favorite technique.
So do you have a favorite color scheme?
Anything bright. I like pinks, obviously, aquas, and bright greens. Those always seem to make their way on my cards. It's always harder for me to use pastels, but I know people can do it beautifully. I personally have always struggled with that.
Yeah, it's fun to see, because it's like you can tell a person's style, and now that you're saying that, it's kind of like, hello, yes, of course, because your colors are always so bright and pretty and soft, and yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, just bright colors, it just makes it really easy for me to use. It's just bringing in the power. Sometimes I remember just challenging myself and to be like, okay, I'm going to use light purple, and then there, of course, other bright colors would make their way onto it. But
right. So you said something that triggered a question that I hadn't thought of previously.
Okay.
Where did the name Pretty Pink Posh come from?
So I actually get this a lot, and I know there's a lot of new people. So Pretty Pink Posh came from me starting a blog, and I needed a name for my blog. I didn't want to use my personal name, and I was like, okay, what kind of name should I use? So at the time it was like, I like pretty things, I like pink things, and I like posh things. So I just find it. And there was no brand or company or blog called that. So I just went with that. And then when I started my brand, it was kind of what I was known for. So I'm like, might as well use that. So that's where it came from.
Oh, I love knowing that. And yeah, it's Yeah, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
then now it's funny because it's like you at least were clever about it. It was me. Well, what's my name? I think I'll just
Yeah, no, my name was
put my
so long, and I was just like, oh, yeah, it was, yeah, because of the blogs, and I was looking at other people's blog names, and I was like, okay, I don't want to like just kind of get passed over, so I wanted to do something that stood out. So that's where it
right,
came from.
right. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. Now, one of the things that I want to remind people again is leave your comment. If you're with us, leave a comment because some lucky person is going to go ahead and win some dollars to get things at our store. And I think we're going to start wrapping this up now. And so the last thing I'm going to ask of you, Paulina, is do you have any sneak peeks for us?
I do. We have an August 10th release, and it was this huge fall release initially, and I was like, this is way too big. So we broke it up, and this one is just specifically for Halloween, which is the first time we've ever done that. But I wanted to say that we do have another circle set in that release. So I want to give you a little teaser of that.
Oh my gosh. People were asking for more cute critters, and I see a cute critter in that
Yes.
one.
And then, so this is one is a smaller release because it is just for Halloween. And so we do have a
Coordinating. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
so we have a Halloween wreath one, which I am so excited for. And then we have these cute little monsters that are not Halloween, but you obviously can use it for Halloween.
Right.
And like always, the coordinating dies, are going to be interchangeable. So if you buy this one, if you bought the summer circles, they're all going to work together. So
Oh, that's
a little sneak peek.
That is awesome. Well, I didn't see any real questions coming through while we were talking, so I think we must have covered it.
Oh, good.
And I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you joining me here today because I know, like, we talked about this, how nervous we get. People don't realize that it's hard for us to put our faces out here, but it's a good thing. And because we love our customers, and that's why we wanted to do this for them.
Yes.
So thank you so much for always being such a huge supporter of our business. And I am always so thrilled to support your business because you have a special place in my heart.
Oh, thank you, Ellen. It's, like you said, it's very hard to get in front of the camera, but I was like, I know there's so many customers and people that I haven't gotten to see for so long because we don't do classes anymore. So this is a ways that we get to do it and really kind of connect with our customers. So thank you for inviting me and for me being part of this fun event the summer of stamping. So
well, again, with the extraordinary heat we've been having, people need to stay inside. So it's like, now what do we do? We're not gardening because it's too hot outside.
Yes. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. And thank you to all of you who joined us today. We really appreciate that you came here today to spend time with us.
Yes.
And please always reach out to us. We're here to answer your questions and to try and provide products that you guys are passionate about. So, Paulina is a gem. And so I'm just, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Ellen.
We will say goodbye to everybody.